Welcome back to another Reptile Jones video, and today's video is going to be slightly different than what I hoped it would be. I'm still working on building that cage that I picked up at Tinley Park, getting it ready for its inhabitant, and well, it's taking a little bit longer than what I anticipated. So instead of that video today, I'm going to do this one, which is going to be a Q&A type style video. As I had a couple questions that I thought, deemed a video, and we'll put both those questions in here. So let's get into those questions. So first question is this. Hoping you can answer these questions as soon as possible. What size bag of excavator clay did you use? Also, how big are the PVC pipes? How many gallons is this tank? And when will you be releasing an update video on this tank? I'm planning on setting up my tank similar to this before my birthday, which is April 19th. Thanks in advance. Well, happy birthday in advance. And I'm going to do it right now today. So let's answer the first few questions. The clay I used one bag, but I did purchase two just in case I needed a little bit more, because that was the first time I actually worked with the product and I really didn't know how much I would need. And that is a 10-pound bag, so kind of judge from that. Depending on how big you build your walls and whatnot, depends on how much you're actually going to need and how much detail and stuff you want to put in there, which you can kind of see right here. And I'll get you a close-up shot here in a moment. Let's see, the PVC pipe. Now I ended up using 2-inch PVC pipe, but if I had to do it over again, I would probably go with 3-inch PVC just to give the gecko a little bit more room for when she wants to turn around. Now if your setup is for more than one gecko living together, I would probably go as big as 4, because what's going to happen is when they're in those tunnels together and they want to get past, they're just going to climb on each other. So you're going to want to give them that room to be able to climb over each other, because they're not going to just be cordial and be like, oh, excuse me, you're in my, they're just gonna plow into each other. So if you have more than one gecko in the cage, I would definitely go with 4-inch pipe. But if it's a single gecko, 3-inch pipe is probably ideal. I end up using 2. She can turn around, but it'd probably give her a little bit more room had I went with 3-inch. So that's the answer. 4-inch if you have more than one gecko. 3-inch is ideal. And if it comes down to it, you can use 2. Just don't go smaller than 2 inches. Okay, so, and that's that. When can I release the video? You're watching it now. So, and let's go ahead and take a close-up look at the setup itself, and I'll explain some things that I would have done differently and how things are going with this. Someone's a little camera shy. Okay, so here is the cage setup, and as you can see, overall it's doing pretty good. But this plant that's right here, that was right here, as you can see, is really not much there of it anymore. And that simply is, it was a very soft-bodied plant, and just her walking over it, she has simply just trampled it into the dirt. So that one didn't do so well. We come over here to this big guy, and as you can see right there, she has knocked off one of the petals on this thing, but overall it's doing pretty good. She does walk over this one, and as you can see right here on the ground, we got a little bit of a wiltiness going on, but overall it's doing all right. She has knocked it down a little bit. And then come over here. Now these two in the front, they're a little bit more of a sturdier plant. And even though this one has spines on it, those are actually soft spines. You don't have to worry about it hurting the gecko. But as you can see, these two are holding up quite well. But there is enough space in between this plant and this front glass that she can walk through there without running into that. And she also walks up in between, which is how she kept trampling that. So but I've seen her, you know, she climbs all over everything in here. And of course this guy, he's doing good. I think he's just in a good location where she just easily walks around it and doesn't really bother walking on top of it. Of course she has dragged out some of the sphagnum moss from the humid hide area and is now sitting in this pathway. We have the water dish. Now this plant is doing okay. That's another one of those that's in this corner and she just kind of tramples it. And then there's this one back here. As soon as it focuses, you can see has lost a lot of leaves. And again, this is another soft bodied plant and it doesn't really take much for her to knock those leaves off when she starts walking all over it. And the large aloe plant there in the back is holding pretty strong, even though she has since knocked this branch down in the middle. I will probably remove that just to make sure that we don't get any further damage. But you can kind of see in the middle of this aloe plant there is a new leaf thing sprouting out there, so it seems to be doing all right. But overall we're doing pretty good. As you've seen, she is right down here. There, you can just see the tip of her tail. Overall it's doing pretty good. I kind of just water these plants lightly once during the week, and then every now and again I just give the whole cage a spray and get everything, you know, good and wet, especially like last week when I noticed that she was in shed. So overall we're doing pretty good. Of course over here is the water dish, and then we also use a feed dish for when I'm feeding mealworms and waxworms and things like that. And if you watch the nighttime video, I do feed crickets from time to time, and she does seem to enjoy chasing them. So, and they have all these cork bark to hide in to get away from her, so she can't just massacre everybody right away. She actually does have to hunt those guys. And as you can probably hear crickets chirping now, they are hiding deep inside, trying to stay alive. But overall the cage is looking pretty good. Again, like I said earlier, the only thing I would do differently is instead of using the 2-inch pipe that I used, I would have went with 3-inch pipe. And you know, the plant selection would have probably been slightly different, but you know, this is how we learn what works and what doesn't work. You just have to try it. I guess the only thing I would have done is, so this is a 20 long glass aquarium. Perhaps this style setup would have been better in a 40-gallon breeder, where, you know, I could have probably made a little bit more ease of access. But then again, she's always going to climb regardless of how much space you actually give her, so she probably would have trampled some of these plants regardless, because she doesn't know that you know, that she's going to damage those plants. She doesn't really think about things like that. She just sees something in her way, so she climbs it. But overall the cage is doing really well. I'm pleased with it. Obviously I would have liked to have seen that plant that's missing here would have survived and really carpeted the backside, but you know, again, this is all part of the learning curve. And I know now that either if I try that plant again, we have to do something to kind of protect it from her climbing on it, or just simply not use the plant at all. So, but that's the things we've learned. You just gotta try stuff. And unfortunately, it's the death of a couple plants this time around. But the gecko, she is doing just fine. As you've seen her at the beginning, crawl in there, but. So I'm really pleased with the way this turned out, and really looking forward. I might try some other plants later on, but for now we're just going to kind of just continue to see how this habitat works out. Okay, question number 2 is this one here. It comes from the January Reptile Room update, and it says, "Hi Jones, just wondering where you get all your cages and racks." Now I actually get this question quite a bit, and it's a combination of I buy them used, sometimes I buy them new, but only if they're on sale, and ultimately most of the time I just build them myself. So I'll take you around the room, we'll look at each cage rack individually, and I'll explain where and why I've got it. Okay, so looking at some of my caging, this caging rack system here, the 3 and the 2, I actually purchased that from an online sale, garage sale page from Facebook. This is actually an old Pet Supplies Plus display tank, which they sell their animals in. I simply painted it black because I didn't like their green color. So that's where I got that. The cage up top, which is not being used, I simply built that myself. The video is on the channel. We spin around here. This cage plus the metal stand it's sitting on, I also purchased that in a Facebook garage sale page from someone local. And then the aquarium that actually just has storage in it right now, I purchased that when it was on sale at Petco or one of those when they had their $1 per gallon sale. So that's a 40-gallon breeder, so I paid 40 bucks for it. It normally retails for 80, so I got it for half off. Let's swing around here. This aquarium here, which we don't see much of, is the old dart frog tank, which pretty much only houses my plants now. And my only beef with this is hard to video this because it's a curved glass aquarium, so filming it makes it very difficult. But I paid 40 bucks for the aquarium and the stand. I had to build the lid and the lights, but so that was from a Facebook garage sale page as well. Okay, so over here in the other corner of the room, now don't mind the light stand, but this white rack here, I built that myself. There is a video here on the channel if you're interested. It's just a simple 4-rack system. It has my biggest snakes. Above that is a used aquarium that again I purchased from the Facebook garage sale pages. I think I paid 75 bucks for that. And we spin over here. This was also another cage that was on sale. A pet store near me was going out of business, and so they had this auction selling off the hard goods stuff, and so I got that aquarium from there relatively cheap. I think I paid 100 bucks for that. So these two are both 75-gallon aquariums. Thought that was a pretty good price for a brand new one. The black rack or stand that tank is sitting on, I built that. That's, I believe, a video here on the channel. And then we come down to these two white racks down here. I built both of those myself. Again, those are videos on the channel. This houses my smallest of babies, and then this houses like the yearling colubrids, and then if I get any baby ball pythons, that's where they will go. So we spin over to this tank here. I actually purchased this used from a friend of mine. Got a pretty good deal on it, so it works out very nicely in the room. It's got the adult colubrids in there. This tank here, you just seen me purchase from the Tinley Park March show. That is actually the tank I'm working on building out right now as you are watching this video. I had to wait for some stuff to dry before I could go on to the next step. But I paid $60 for this. This is a 12 by 12 by 20 Zilla tank. I really liked what they've done with it. We come down here, move this chair out of the way. So I have this 20 long. I bought this relatively cheap. There's actually a good story behind this. Maybe you guys can use it to help yourselves get a better deal. So reptile caging is what this is. This aquarium is made for reptiles. It's got the locked in lid, which is going dark because of the light. This cage was designed for reptile use. Now, a lot of times what you can do is buy a 20 long fish tank and buy the metal screen lid cheaper than what you can buy this complete as a combo. And I was at PetSmart trying to do that very thing, buy a 20 long fish tank with a metal screen lid. Well, they were completely sold out of 20 long fish tanks. And so I asked one of the people that worked there, told them what I was looking for. They realized that they were out. Of course, they asked me what I wanted it for, and I told them for my gecko. So, they took me back to the reptile selection and, tried to sell me this thing. And I said, yes, I know of this one, but I could get it for was it $20 cheaper if I buy it the other way as opposed to buying this reptile cage as a complete thing. So what the lady actually did, she called her manager over. I explained the exact same situation, while I wanted the fish tank and screen lid because it was cheaper than to buy this. The lady said, you know what, we'll just sell you this for the same price it would have cost you to make that. So I actually got that on a pretty good deal, in my opinion anyways. I got 20 bucks knocked off of it. So it went from a $70 thing to like a $50 or 40. I think it totaled was like 48 something. So, and the black stand it sits on is also something I purchased. So that's it. That's all the tanks in the room, and kind of where and how I acquired them. So thanks for your questions. Okay, so that's it for this video. Thank you guys for your questions. If you guys have any further questions, leave them down below. And if it's a topic that has enough substance to it, perhaps I could make a video about answering your question. So thanks for watching, and until next time, later.
Shut up and sit down.